Hello everyone, Captain here, and today I'll be doing a dueling guide for Star Wars Battlefront 2. This will only encompass 1v1 lightsaber to lightsaber duels, no 1vx, xv1, lightsaber versus blaster, or Palpatine or any of that, only 1v1 lightsaber duels. I'll be breaking this up into 4 sections: dash mix-ups, parrying, hero roles, and hero abilities. These 4 are what I think are the most important things you need to know in order to succeed in high-level lightsaber dueling. Of course, there are many other things like stamina management and jump attacks, but I think those are easier to figure out for yourself, while these tips can be a bit confusing. As there's no custom matches in this game, we have to make do with what we got, so I think seeing a visual of all these tips done in action will be very helpful. Let's jump in with Section 1. First things first, we're going to talk about dash mix-ups, also known as dodge mix-ups. A lot of the time, it seems like it can be hard to beat turtles who just block everything and wait for you to run out of stamina. One of the ways to attack a blocking opponent is to do a dash mix-up. To do this, simply dash through their model, spin your camera, and land a hit on their undefended back, as you can see here. Attacks to the back will do extra damage, so this can be very effective. As you can see, I just dash right through them, hit him right in the back where he's not expecting me to be. But why stop there? As you can see, you can do these rapidly to continually mix up the opponent. The first time you do a dash mix-up, they'll obviously turn their camera to block from the direction you're swinging, so if you do more dash mix-ups, you can confuse them even more and land even more hits on their back. Doing these dash mix-ups can be pretty tough, so I do recommend practice. I also recommend raising the sensitivity of your controller if you're playing on console, so spinning your camera is nice and fast. If your camera spins too slow, your opponent has enough time to realize you dash behind them and spin their camera to block your attack. Another thing I recommend before attempting a dash mix-up is to do it after you swing a couple times on the front. Going back to this clip, as you can see, I hit him once in the front to make him block in that direction, and then I do the dash mix-up by jumping behind him. If you attack an opponent from the front first, they'll think you're going to keep attacking from the front. So when you dash behind them and hit them in the back, it's a little more unexpected. If you do enough dash mix-up, though, the enemy might anticipate the dash mix-up to be coming, so maybe you can keep attacking the front and they might not expect that. They'll be expecting you to try to something a little more fancy. If you're not confident with dashing and then spinning your camera, what you can do is a reverse backstep. Here you pre-turn your camera like so and dash backwards so you're already facing the enemy's back after you dash. This may be easier for you, but it is a little more predictable, so make sure you use this sparingly. As you can see, here's an example of me using a reverse backstep to kill a Darth Maul. Yep, he back dodges here and I just simply backstep right through him. He doesn't expect it. Boom, nail him right in the back. So how do you counter someone trying to do this to you? Well, it's pretty simple actually. You can just react to it. You can spin your camera as soon as they dash, and if you're quick enough, you can block everything they throw. I actually turn around and parry this guy's attempt at a dash mix-up, you see? This guy dashes right behind me, I turn my camera and boom, just parry it. Make sure you're quick on the sensitivity though. Next up is a discovery that changed Battlefront 2 dueling forever, and this is Section 2, Parrying. Parry is basically blocking and attacking at the same time. So when an opponent attacks you, you can block it and deal some damage at the same time. To parry, you hold down the block button. As soon as the enemy attack hits, press the attack button while still holding the block button. If successful, as you see here, you'll take no damage, and they will take damage. It's also very important to keep an eye on your stamina when you parry, because a parry takes double the stamina. It takes the stamina of both the block and the attack, so make sure you don't run out of stamina if you parry a lot. As you can see in this clip, I block the first 2 just normally, and I don't take any damage, but I don't do any to him. So watch, ready? 1, just block, 2, just block. That's a parry, that's a parry. So what is and isn't parryable? Well, obviously basic lightsaber attacks can be parried like this. Dash attacks like Maul's, Luke's, and Yoda's can be parried, which is a good way to get damage on one of them while they're trying to run away. As you can see, that's Yoda's dash attack right there. And as soon as he jumps at me, I just parry it, boop, just parry it right out of the air. And he goes, that killed him. And believe it or not, force powers can be parried. Well, most of them. Parrying is usually useless against them because usually they're too far to be hit by your lightsaber from the parry. But if you parry the force power while they're kind of right in front of you, you will do the damage. Don't try to parry force chokes and stuff, but you can parry pushes, pulls, repulses, saber throws, etc. And I don't have footage of it, but you can also parry melee strikes like Han's shoulder charge, Phasma's staff, and all the blaster hero melee attacks that you can do with R3. On the other hand, you cannot parry blaster bolts, stuns, explosives, or some force powers like force choke. Alright, so our third section here is the roles that heroes can play in different battles. This is not particularly important for 2v2, but it is very important in 4v4. And this is also just a basic idea of how you should play each character. Luke, Maul, Grievous, and Yoda are considered hit-and-run characters. They're very good at getting some hits in and dashing out because they're very fast and have dash attacks. Obi-Wan is the only defensive character. You could definitely play him aggressive like you're seeing here, but what he does is he has probably the highest stamina in the game, meaning he's probably the best parrying hero too, meaning he's extremely good for defense. Next category is the rushdown characters, which I consider to be Rey, Kylo Ren, Dooku, and Anakin. All three of these have very good dash attacks and are relatively fast, and their abilities are good for just chasing people down and getting fights done. Kylo's Frenzy, his pull, his freeze prevent people running away. Dooku does big damage on their back if they're running away. Rey's dash strike can knock you down, and her mind trick can mess up your ability to run. Anakin has a pull and a repulse to keep you. Finally, the last category is only filled by one character, and that would be Vader. He is a tank. He has very high health and very high defense, especially with his middle ability active. And he's a very good team fighter with his choke and his lightsaber throw. Alrighty, for our final section, we're going to get on to hero abilities and their uses. I won't go through every single one in the game, but there are a lot of useful ones you should be sure to know about. First off is Rey's dash strike. It can feel a little stiff if you're not used to it, but when you get used to it, it is a crucial tool in Rey's kit. The dash, if it hits an opponent who isn't blocking, will knock them over, as you can see here with this Vader. This can guarantee some regular strikes if you're fast enough while they're on the ground. First off, you can cancel Rey's dash strike with a dodge. This is important because if you miss your dash strike, make sure to dash out of it quickly so you won't get punished. You can also cancel the dash using a regular lightsaber swing, like so. If you land a successful dash, if you press the attack button as soon as the dash hits, you will do a combo, hitting them with your dash, the damage from that, and a follow-up swing guaranteed. This is good for getting quick damage against opponents who are out of stamina or trying to run. As you can see, I come in with the dash. The second it hits Grievous, I hit him with a regular strike as well and hit him with the double damage. Next up is Kylo's Frenzy. Basically, it locks onto the nearest enemy in range that you're targeting, and Kylo leaps at them, and he does high damage. This is a great tool for chasing runners or landing extra strikes against an opponent's guard to drain their stamina. As you can see, I do a little dash mix up here with Rey, just dash right behind her and hit her with the Frenzy. You can also chain your regular swing into a Frenzy. What you do is you just attack. You activate Frenzy as soon as your regular strike hits, and you'll do a little attack into chain. As you can see, I do it against these guys right there. You just have to be careful using Frenzy because it can be parried. Alright, moving on. Darth Maul, Luke, and Yoda all have access to a dash attack. These are basically a move that moves you a great distance and does damage to any opponent who it touches during the attack. These moves are great for both offense and defense. You can catch running opponents with these or catch someone's dodge. These moves can also be used to gain a lot of distance quickly, which is helpful for running away so you can get your stamina or health back. All of these moves recharge quickly, so make sure to use them often, but just remember they can be parried. Next up is the guard-breaking moves. Vader and Maul both have lightsaber throws, and they both do damage through enemy guards. So whether they're blocking or not, it will damage them. Usually on the backswing, as you can see here, comes right back and hits them right in the back. The saber throws are great for taking out low health enemies or enemies that are trying to run from you, as you can see with that Obi-Wan, or just picking off Anakin from a distance here, just being cheeky. And Anakin's Passionate Strike also goes through blocks, but keep in mind that the slow animation on this move can make it easily dodged by an opponent that's paying attention. But as you see there, it went through Vader's guard while he was blocking or not, and that was a great opener to finish him off. Vader's choke is an extremely good move that is basically instant death for the enemy if your team is around. It grabs the enemy and puts them in a vulnerable position for a couple seconds, dealing low damage over time throughout its duration. After the choke ends, the enemy falls to the ground, leaving them vulnerable for a follow-up attack. As you can see here, she falls to the ground. She's vulnerable there for a couple seconds. Vader's best combo is a choke, followed by a dash behind the enemy, one strike to the enemy's back, then a saber throw for an absolute ton of damage that is all guaranteed. This only works if Vader is close enough to get the dash behind the enemy, as you just saw. If you get the choke from kind of far away, just throw your lightsaber at the enemy or hit them as they fall.